Hey guys, and welcome. My name is Chris. I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes with you walking through KPost's current digital marketing standpoint. We're going to take a look at this through the lens of SEO, search engine optimization. Specifically, we want to talk about not so much your commercial offering, but where you're ranking and trying to gain more exposure with residential services that you offer. It's going to be broken down into three parts here. First, we're going to talk about keywords, which is on your website and what we utilize them to do off the website. Then we're going to talk about what's known as backlinking. And we're going to finish up with citations and then again further talk about keywords to wrap everything up. So I won't take up too much of your time. Some of it gets a little bit technical, but stick with me because it's very important. I always like to start out with making the point of any type of marketing or advertising, whether it be digital or in the physical world, always wants to focus on bringing in new revenue and increasing the company's bottom line. So how do we do that? Well, we start at the very front of the sales process with gaining exposure with your target audience. So we're going to talk about with the right placement, you're automatically going to be in front of people that are searching for your service. In this case, we're going to hyper focus on residential roofing, and they're taking the time to search on Google for it. And we want to make sure you're front and center, because when you are, then they enter into this beautiful website that we have on the screen, and then you take them through the entire process, building trust, credibility, and performing to the top of the ability all the way through to landing the deal, and then gaining new revenue and increasing the bottom line. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward. And here we go. Let's talk about keywords on the website. So keywords are any type of service plus location that people are looking for. So they're utilizing these terms to search on Google for a service within a greater location. So let's say I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and I'm in need of a roofer. I have no idea who to call. Maybe I'm new to the area. I turn to Google with all of the information out there, and about 96% of the consumers going and searching online, I type in something like roofing in Dallas or roofing Fort Worth, and then I get greeted with a whole bunch of different companies that I'm able to choose from. So it's important that Google can recognize which category or which service in which location you are offering your business services. And we do that by putting the right keywords on the page here. So if we scroll down, there's opportunities to increase the content on the homepage. Believe me, we're going to do it in a very design-friendly way. If so, I don't want to mess with how beautiful this site is. What I want to do is let Google know a little bit more of the fact that, hey, we're roofers doing all of these things within Dallas-Fort Worth. And Google's going to know that by putting in the terms that people are searching for. So that's step one. What I also did here is I took a look at another sometimes forgotten element of SEO, and that's going to be your Google My Business listing right here. Great job on getting the reviews. You have an extremely good ranking there, or rating, I should say. All of the information is complete, so you're miles ahead of most of the competition. I will say, if our focus here is to increase your residential roofing services side, then we want to put that information where people can find it. You're highlighting your commercial abilities. Of course, that is a major part of everything. But if we're looking to gain more business residential, well, let's put that more in the info and description and put it out there and let the word be known that KPost not only can do commercial huge jobs, but we can take care of your roof and no problem whatsoever. So this is a good opportunity to put it here. I don't want to lose you here, but we're about to go into the back-end diagnostics. So we like to use the tool of Ahrefs, and this is essentially your website back-end diagnostic according to digital marketing standards. So right here, don't let me lose you. I know this is a big number, but this drops significantly and very quickly overall, the more effort we put to the rest of the row. So we're just going to talk about this top row here because I want to give you that high-level overview. This is your overall site. If you notice here, kpostcompany.com. So this column right here, these combined scores is the strength of your website based off of how many websites out there are linking back to your site. And remember, we talked about the keywords and now we're on the backlinks. So backlinks, anytime a website links back to your website. Think back to the last time you were reading an article and you saw this blue text that maybe said, I don't know, best roofer in Dallas. and you clicked on the link and all of a sudden another roofing company's website popped up. Well, that first website that you were reading the article on is actually endorsing that company as the best roofer in Dallas. They're saying, guys, go check this guy out, and he's definitely going to do a good job for you. So that's an endorsement, but in the digital world. That's what backlinks are. So over the time we've been in business, we've been able to foster and really cultivate strong relationships within the industry in order to utilize the powerful websites and powerful companies out there to put your website or your name onto their site, getting more traction, more traffic, more exposure. But really with Google, you're getting more credibility. This powerful website who's been around for a while, good company, high rankings, high exposure is saying, you know what, guys, this is a good roofer. So Google's going to see that and say, okay, well, if they get the endorsement, well, then we're going to give them a little leg up and bump them up in the ranking. So it's very important to always make sure that we're continuing those relationships. We're getting your name onto other websites, whether it be in the form of blogs, guest posting, guest articles, whatever the case is. So that's one element that we have done for years, and we're able to continue the process. So backlinks in a nutshell. Let's move to referring domains. So this is that third element. It's also known as citations, as I called it earlier, but what I want you to think of it as is a directory. So before the internet, you used to get out a big yellow book, and if you needed the roofer, you go to the roofing section, and then you start looking at all these ads and just pick one and go from there. It's the same thing, but in the digital element. So it's anytime KPost's company name, phone number, and address are listed out there on service directories. You're already familiar with a bunch, whether you know it or not. So let's list a couple. Yelp is a big one. Facebook, another big one. Better Business Bureau, Home Advisor, Angie's List, Thumbtack, Expertise, and the list goes on and on and on. That's great. You want to be on the big ones. Of course, that's step number one. But what differentiates the rest of the companies from you will be the fact that you're not only on those big ones, but you're also on the niche and industry relevant ones, similar to the backlinks, where it talks about specifically Dallas, specifically Fort Worth, specifically roofing or other home services or exterior needs, that it's going to list you on that directory. Google's going to recognize the fact that, okay, you're going for more exposure here. I'm going to reward you and put that into our algorithm overall, increasing your exposure and then increasing eventually that bottom line, as we talked about in the beginning. So circling back to keywords again, service plus location. I will say that right off the bat, I mean, your site is doing very well overall. You guys are making some effort. You can see from all the graphs below. Yeah, you might have been hit. Of course, COVID has hit everybody, but it's time to now shift gears and look to the future. So this is the whole website. Let me show you what your individual residential roofing page looks like, because Google does rank not only the whole site, but it ranks each individual back page or service page as well. Here it is. You might have that nice rank, maybe some strength of the overall website, but the rest of these numbers are very low. So if we want to hyper focus on residential roofing, we're going to put our efforts that I just explained, not only on the homepage itself, but really it's going to be concentrated right back here. This way, your residential roofing page will actually rank higher in order to get the exposure when people are looking for a roof repair or residential roofing or roofing contractors, not so much just coming up for commercial needs. Now let's take an example of a competitor in the area. So again, going back to that example where I'm new to the area, I went ahead and need a new roof. So I turned to Google because I don't know anybody, and I type in something like this, roofing contractors, Dallas, Texas. You'll actually see why I type this in as an example, because this is the highest volume keyword. We'll get to that in a second. I'm greeted with this on the page. Right off the bat is Google local service provider ads. So this combined with this right here are the normal Google ads, or PPC, which I'm sure you're familiar with, are an amazing tactic to gain leads in the short run. Can be very costly, especially in a saturated and competitive market like the greater Dallas area, but it's another element of the overall online strategy. We're going to skip over this because how I like to refer this as is it's paying to skip the line. And what's the line? The line is the marathon of a process of SEO. But in the long run, just like it doesn't take a day or two to build your business, it takes time, it takes effort, but the rewards are much greater in the long run. So we're going to come down. We talked about the Google My Business page, which let me just remind you here, you guys already have one. I notice also you utilize the coronavirus COVID-19 update section, which is incredible. Always want to stay on top of it. Google looks at the Google My Business as similar to a social media platform for businesses. So the more active you're on there, the better. That's something we take care of posting weekly. So back to the search results. We come down. Here's Home Advisor. So remember, that's a directory. That's something that you want to be on. Of course, now Home Advisor and Angie's List, now that they merged, a little bit different. You pay for the services, but it's an example of a directory. Then we come to Lawnsmith Roofing. This is the first organic listing. So meaning Lawnsmith Roofing is utilizing a sound SEO strategy to get the exposure being right here. And let's take a look at their stats. I ran them through as well. This is their website, which you may or may not be familiar with, but here's the back end, which you're probably seeing for the first time. Similar ranking, again, that's not a huge thing, but they have more power overall on their website based off of the backlinks. Let's turn your attention back to you. 858 backlinks versus Lawn, 3.18 thousand. So you can get the idea. Now, not all backlinks are created equal, right? So just like in the physical world, if I was going to ask my neighbor for a referral, well, that's one thing. But if Home Depot comes out and says KPost is by far the best roofer in Dallas-Fort Worth area, well, that's going to hold more weight, right? Because Home Depot is a powerful, credible company that people trust. So the same process. The numbers aren't the big factor. It's the power behind the numbers. And they obviously are doing a little bit better at the moment. Referring domains are those citations and directories. They have more than us at the moment. And then more keywords. Now, just like backlinks, just because it's a high number of keywords doesn't mean they're always relevant. Of course, it's going to be the company name. Sometimes Google will pick up things from the blog that are not relevant, or they're just so far out there you're wondering, well, what's going on here? But the real crux of it is the ones that are utilized to search for your services. And these are some of the examples. So Roofing Dallas, Texas is something that I put in. This is our keyword research back here. And you can see these terms. Now, again, I know there's a lot on the screen. Let me break it down real quick. This column is going to be the actual keyword. And it's not just roofing as the keyword. It's the entire phrase is one keyword. KD, also known as keyword difficulty, shows you the challenge, or not to use the same word, but difficulty of ranking number one for this term right here, roofing contractors, Dallas, Texas, based off of the competition and market saturation. So everyone's going after that same keyword. The more people that do and put more effort behind it, the harder it is to get there. Not to say it's not possible. What it really boils down to is the continuous effort and that hidden side of the process, which is time. You know, it takes time. That's why it's a marathon. Ads are the sprint. Final column I want you to look at is volume. This is the amount of times per month that this particular term is searched for. So roofing contractors, Dallas, Texas. That's kind of a catch-all as well. We don't know, do they want commercial? Do they want metal sheeting? Do they want repair? Do they want residential roofing? We don't know, but we need to be in front of these people anyway because this is our service and this is our location. So the reason I have these checked off is because these are the highest volume ones. And I wanted to give you this example. Let's just say that our efforts were paying off and we were sitting in the top half of the first page on Google for, let's just say, the first 3 terms, okay? So roofing contractors, Dallas, Texas, that's 450 times that search for. Roofing company, Dallas, Texas, 200 times that search for. Roofing companies in Dallas, Texas, 200 times that search for. Just those 3 terms alone give us an exposure of 850 times a month that we're in front of our target audience, just from the SEO efforts. Now, of that 850 times per month, let's just say only 10% of those people go ahead and click on KPost, and then X percentage of that goes all the way through the sales funnel. That's still new business based off the fact that you're now gaining the exposure because of your online ranking with your target audience. So it's something to consider. And again, I know we're looking into residential roofing, so let me show you more example, because Dallas isn't our only area. We want to concentrate Fort Worth too. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, people in the area, they just call it Dallas Fort Worth. It's all one. Well, Google actually breaks it down, because what it will do is it will see where the IP address is actually located and then put that result in for you. So if we were to rank them for Dallas, remember 850 times, let's take the top three here. Fort Worth, Texas Roofing, 90. Roofing Company, Fort Worth, Texas, 150. Roofing Contractors, Fort Worth, Texas, 150. Fortunately, these are round numbers, so we're good. So we're looking at 390 times just for those top three. Now let's go a little bit further. Look at this. Roofing Contractor, Fort Worth. Roofing, Fort Worth, Texas. I know they sound so similar, but they're actually different. People are utilizing these terms right here based off of these numbers to try to find a service in an area that you cater to. So that's an important element. Remember, it's all about increasing the bottom line. This is the first step by getting in front of your target audience. That's always the first step of the equation. And I hope this helps. We're going to hyper focus on residential roofing. We're going to look into repairs, and we're going to point the direction not only to the website overall, but we're going to power up that residential roofing page. So then you can start gaining the exposure and specific for that individual customers. So I hope you found this useful. I really appreciate the time, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks.